We go and find people to be in our team that have, the ability, they can learn, they are curious, and still be somebody you want to, have lunch with, break bread with. And if you can find both, that's fantastic.
AAON was built on bold ideas and fearless innovation. We're giving you the inside look at the stories of the people shaping the future of HVAC. This is Inside AAON.
Welcome to another episode of Inside AAON. I'm Jeremy Cavness, and of course, as always, we've got Whitney Tapp with us here to make sure that I stay in line. We have an awesome episode for you guys today. We're going to get into it with a special guest, Isaac Simpson. Isaac is the Director of Sales over at DMG. He's also deeply involved in marketing. Isaac's somebody we know well. He's an expert in the industry, and we're looking forward to hearing from him today. So today we're talking about market-focused opportunities. So we're gonna talk a lot about the market. We're gonna spend time on sales, marketing, what makes a rep. But before we get started, I have to get something out off my chest.
Yeah, we had some complaints from the first episode. Somebody was missing.
Yeah, we had some complaints, and we just want to address it straightforward. The question was, where's Derby? It's a great question because Derby's better looking. He's got the accent, right? He's exciting. People know him. It's a valid question, and we felt like we needed to answer that question. So for those of you that don't know, Derby was promoted, and he's leading our customer care team at AAON, doing a great job, just killing it. So he's still alive, and he's still at AAON. But we did think it was important to bring him back for you guys. So we did a little work, and we created our very own Derby bobblehead. And so he's going to be here with us moving forward. That way, you guys, viewers, are satisfied. And if we need to have him answer a question, we'll just ask him. So he's here with us, and hope all of you guys are happy now. So, but for the rest of the episodes, you just get us. That's all you got. So
sorry, no.
So here we go. Whitney, why don't you tell us what we are talking about today?
So the topic today is market-focused opportunities. And the 5 key points are what makes a rep, market trends, flexibility that wins, devil's advocate, and again, why should we care?
Perfect. I love it. So with that, let's just dive right in. Isaac, thank you for being here.
Hey, great to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you coming all this way. For starters, why don't you give us a little more context into your role at DMG, the things you do, and what a day in the life is like for you.
All right. Well, thanks. Day to day, I'm involved in our, working with the sales team to promote, whatever's on our line card. AAON's at the top of that, not just with the 2 A's, but just
we
literally.
Appreciate that.
But
the 2 A's,
the 2 A's is a
they're
big deal.
important.
Big deal.
In that phone book.
And so that's key. Get out there, talk about your key lines, understand, what the market's doing, understand where it's going, and try and meet it there. Try and be there. And then tell that story. So I get to have some fun and work with our marketing team across DMG, get to work with your team and promote in a number of different ways what it is that we have at DMG that makes us unique, what it is that the Ambient family now brings to that value proposition. So that's kind of the fun part of the job, the real focused every day. Putting forecasts together, knowing where the sales team is, knowing where they should be, knowing who needs help. What jobs are at risk and what jobs are winning, where do we stand every day? What's our scorecard? What do the numbers look like? So
the normal sales stuff.
Every day,
you got to do
the
it.
grind.
The numbers.
We're not making money. None of this matters, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And if the forecast is late, we got all kinds of problems, right? And so that's key.
Good. So how long have you been in the industry?
Close to. I really think it's close to 25 years now.
Wow.
And I started out a little tiny manufacturing company. We ended up selling a lot of our product into the HVAC space. That kind of led me to the next opportunity as a wholesale distributor for a couple of different products that eventually built out some commercial sales and engineering. And that's how I connected with DMG.
That's great. Yeah. That's great context. So since you kind of gave us a picture of what, your career, a little bit about your background, what you do, we want to start with what makes a rep. So give us some context, and this is you have experience. There's some opinions here and those sorts of things, but give us some idea of what you think makes a high performing rep in the industry and all that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, because I think if you are asked somebody who's not in this business or in other industries,
Yeah.
a rep is kind of like this middleman, and
There's
really,
probably a lot of misconceptions
Yes.
about what a rep is.
yeah, or what value do they
Yeah.
bring? A commodity broker is certainly not what we are. Luckily, we have factories like AAON that have entrusted us to be their frontline customer service, their frontline sales. Day to day, we're doing marketing. Day to day, we're doing support, startup, warranty. We're owning that product from, when we're first, specifying it with our engineer or architect, all the way through, the 20, 30 years that might be on the roof of that building. And that's a big commitment. And that's the value that a rep creates. It's owning that, really, truly owning that. Not, hey, there's a problem, let's point to somebody else.
Yeah.
We create value when we step in, we be your front line, and really deliver. And that's the difference between, I think, somebody who's happy to just kind of like take the sale
Sell
and
the product and then walk away and never talk to you again.
That's not being a rep.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a different job. Sometimes that sounds like an easier job. Well, actually, I know it's an easier job, but it's not as rewarding, and you don't build as much value when that's all you do. When all you do is just take a PO and throw it over the fence, that's not what a rep does.
So what are the attributes of high performing reps? What would you say, if you could narrow it down to 3 or 4 or 5 words or sets of behaviors, what would you say they're doing on a day-to-day basis?
They're solving problems. I mean, we're solving a problem either technically or logistically. We're getting in there. We're finding a resource.
So there's curiosity involved. You're motivated, you're incentivized, but you have to be at some level curious about fixing problems, right?
Yeah, you have to be the kind of person that asks why all the time, and how, and then you get an answer and you say, I don't like that answer because that's not going to do it for my customer. I've got to go ask somebody else and ask somebody else and ask somebody else. And that's who's going to win. And when you do that, because it is a challenging environment, it's a challenging industry, construction is complicated. A million different things coming together to build one big thing. It's also really rewarding because then you can point at it and say, hey, that's that big thing that we all came together and built. The challenge is all as it's coming together, the making of the soup or the stew or whatever.
It can be chaotic.
It can be and for all the reasons that you can anticipate and all the reasons you can't anticipate. So I need somebody to be dynamic and like you said, be curious.
There's resiliency. It sounds like somebody that's got to have some thick skin along the way. I mean, some of these projects, they don't go perfectly from A to Z. So you've got to be resilient and tough.
Yeah, and where you can anticipate it, that's great. You can diffuse some of those situations. You can kind of steer clear of a problem, but you're going to run into a problem and you're going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it too. And so
you got to
have thick skin.
That's right. Like we're in trouble. Not all the projects go smoothly. You got to be able to take a punch or two. So that's good. So my dad always told me growing up, it's not what you know, it's who you know. We do. We as the manufacturer, we see you guys out there, and we say relationships obviously are really key to your success as a rep, but they're not everything, are they? So tell us a little bit about challenge that.
I would, and here's the problem. If you say it's not what you know, it's who you know, the relationship's just part of the puzzle. If you're not technically there for your customer, if you don't understand how your product works, if you don't understand how it can solve a problem, you're not a resource to your engineer. You're not a resource to your contractor. They want to make a call and get an answer. It's okay if you don't know the answer because you can go find the answer. But how many times are they going to call you and have you not know before they just stop calling?
Yeah, lose all confidence.
So it's both a social, strong relationships as broad as you can build them. I think when I started this industry and I got my first problem job and the owner wanted us to meet on site, I was like, oh man, this is horrible. I'm going to have to go meet with an owner. And then after we fixed the problem, that became a repeat customer for me. And I was like, oh, getting to meet the owner is actually an opportunity. Now, I don't ever tank a job or create a problem as a way to meet an owner. But if I can meet an owner, that's a huge opportunity. That's a relationship that is super valuable. You guys build equipment that lasts for a really long time. I may not be able to sell the same job 2 or 3 times like I would when I was selling maybe a less durable or less reliable piece of equipment.
Right.
I'll sell that 2 or 3 times in my career. And I might sell once to that building, and 30 years later it's still going and I'm somewhere else. I got to sell his next building and his next building and his next building. And if I can create that for my owner, my architect, if I can have that relationship with the engineer, the contractor, I want to have that relationship, but I better know my stuff.
Yeah, and we've heard reps say that sometimes it's the technical ability that creates an inroad for a relationship, right? And so
that's
when
right.
you're with people out there, you're helping solve their problems with knowledge. The light bulb for the customer will go off and be like, that's a guy I can rely on, right? And so if you're demonstrating the technical ability, sometimes the relationships will follow that along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we're hoping to do. We go and find people to be in our team that have, the ability, they can learn, they are curious, but it's not just a great attitude, not just a smiling handshake, let's go to the ball game, let's play golf kind of guy, but also, they have the ability to learn what we do, to learn the ins and outs of, say, a sequence of operation, or God forbid, a wiring diagram. They can dig in. They can dig into that level of detail and perform, and still be somebody you want to, have lunch with, break bread with. And if you can find both, that's fantastic.
That's good. Well, let's keep moving. Market trends. We want to hear from you.
What have you seen? What has changed?
What's going on out there?
Oh, I wish I knew. No, I wish I had that crystal ball, right? Yeah. There's a lot going on in the market. The commercial marketplace, for us, COVID disrupted our regular business. Where we were winning consistently got broken. And we had to go find, some new places to win. And for a period of time, that was, hey, let's take all this office space that we have that nobody's working at because we're all working remote. Let's change that to lab buildings. Let's do 50-50 lab office. And then my partners in Boston and San Diego and the Bay Area that were loving building all those life science buildings, all of a sudden we overbuilt that. And now there was too much of that space sitting empty. And now we had to go find another big thing. And I can tell you data centers is a buzzword that I hear probably too many times a day. But that's a huge, huge market. And then when I look at the regular commercial buildings that we've always built and that we continue to take care of, I think the opportunity has been to go back to them and retrofit some of those buildings to be better performing, more resilient, more efficient, and there's a lot of value we can deliver there. It's a different sales cycle, but it's a great opportunity.
So today, if you were to say what percentage of your opportunities are new construction versus what percent are retrofit or something like that, what would you say?
Great question. I think it's shifted from a very high percentage to being just new construction to literally every day growing percentage of retrofit. And while I don't have like the latest number on that, that is the trend. The trend is to go in and upgrade and make those buildings perform better.
Yeah. What happens? What has to happen for new construction to boom again in your area? I know you're on the West Coast, but it could be different on the East Coast. But where you're at?
Where we're at, I think that uncertainty in the marketplace has been something that a lot of business owners and developers have faced. That's all the things that you see in the news. It's not just tariffs. Tariffs is one part of it. Interest rates are one part of it.
Probably just like corporate culture has shifted since COVID. Like a lot of people are working from home now or remote. They don't need to go in the office.
Yeah, the idea of the office or the building is it's changed over the last 5 years, and so what they use it for has changed.
That's 100% true. It's true how we work, and I think that if you look at some sectors, like hospitality is a great example, those hotels are built and they're full in our area, and there's more ready to be built, and they're kind of hedging their bets. They're like, hey, right now I'm doing really well. Occupancy's high. Do I want to go out at X interest rate and borrow that money to build the next building? Or do I sit back and wait a year or two and see if some of these prices that have jumped up maybe settle down?
So, Isaac, recap for us the types of customers specifically that you're targeting. Where does the interest lie? Who are these people? Where are they? Who are they? What is their job?
Great question. So it's an all of the above strategy. We have people that just focus on owners. Maybe that's big campuses. Maybe those are school districts. We have people that focus on contractors primarily. We have guys that are out there looking at aftermarket opportunities. That might be a building engineer or a facilities property management team. We're talking to the specifying engineers, and those projects, are going to come out of all of those places. We're going to hear about a job, and we're going to figure out whether we have a fit if we're talking to all those people.
Got it. So you're casting a wide net as you guys go to market
we have to. Yeah, talk to everybody. And when we look at that aftermarket opportunity, that could come up with something, a service call, a parts call comes across the desk to one of our great parts team members that are helping out our service guys all the time. Hey, that unit's 20 years old. Let's tag that. That's a lead right there. Maybe it's time to upgrade that system. Maybe it's time to replace that system. And maybe there's a handful of other units on that same rooftop that need to be addressed as well. So we're casting a very wide net and finding any opportunity we can.
So I imagine with all these changing market trends that flexibility is key. Can you talk about how the flexibility of AAON has helped you win jobs?
Yeah, there's a lot of great examples. One that I really like recently, we were looking at a multi-use building in the North Bay. And they came to us with a desire to be all electric. So they had a really old gas-fired unit, gas-electric unit that was serving the space. And we put together the typical thing that we do, a selection, ran it by their engineer, and he's said, hey, we just don't have the power. A new heat pump all-electric system required more power than that old gas-electric unit did. So, think about it. Gas-electric unit.
And that's something we hear a lot.
Big furnace, takes care of the heat. Compressor takes care of the cooling. That's what you have. And, you put that heat pump in there, you might need some auxiliary or backup heat. And that's a jump up in what they have on the roof. Well, when that happened, he said, "Hey, we got to get down to this size." So we, send them another selection. That's what we do. We send go in,
try this,
try this, and it's that iterative process where we're throwing something at the wall. Let's see if it'll stick. And the next one, he's like, actually, I told you that we had this much amperage. We're actually a little short of that. Can you come up with something even better? So round two, we tossed that out. That didn't work.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, I know what you said, and I'm going to ignore what you said for a minute, and I'm gonna send you a different heat pump. It's a heat pump, but it's dual fuel. And what that's going to let us do is we're going to get to that electrical, and we're going to have that backup or auxiliary heat that we need for this heat pump electrification job. But for just a few percent of those hours out of the year, we're going to need to use that gas infrastructure that you already have up there on the roof. And it doesn't require us bringing in that bigger electrical feed that we just can't do, or so often is just not practical. The feasibility of bringing a bigger electrical feed to the roof is big dollars. And that can just kill a project.
So to be clear, their original spec or their original concept was all electric.
They wanted all electric.
But you were able to get them to a place where we can do 98% electric or
Exactly.
99% electric. And guess what? Let's just have 1% for those
For that
few percentage.
really cold day.
And they were flexible on enough
Yeah,
to
and that
meet you.
shows through the practicality of this electrification move. Everybody's talking about electrification and decarbonization. It is a phased thing.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen one time.
Even in California.
Absolutely. And California, the North Bay of California, probably one of the greenest, if you want to say, tree hugging or, kind of like
I wasn't going to say
Yeah,
it.
I'll say it. I mean, they got great big, it's the redwoods. They got great big, they're tree huggers. They want to do this that's sincere. But then there's also the practicality of what can be done right now. And I think that's what's so great about your heat pump products. There's not just one way to get a little bit of auxiliary heat or backup heat. And that gives us one more way to win. And I see that on so many buildings that have these existing systems.
Yep.
I think it also goes back to that we've got to be deeply technical.
You got to know your stuff.
Yeah. Can you not just take the request black and white and give them back exactly that? Can you give them back a couple options? Can you give them back, hey, I gave you the selection you asked for, but I'd like you to take a look at this one or two other things that might be a fit for you.
Being a great salesman, or salesperson, is like, there's a request that comes in, but really great sellers understand that there's a little flexibility left and right, and sometimes you've got to be creative to solve the problem.
And I think that's what, if our team's doing a good job if they're serving our customers well, they're giving them those options, and they're thinking. Don't just answer exactly that request. Think about it. Say why. Ask why. Why do you want just that? And then, with the replacement market, I'll tell you one more thing. Whether it's a boiler or a rooftop unit that we're getting rid of, you look at that old rusty nameplate, and it's got some number on it, some millions of BTUs. It's probably wrong. Most of our heating systems are wildly oversized.
Yeah.
The building's 30 years old, 40 years old. They've upgraded the windows. They put some insulation in. They've done some things to the inside of the building.
But they still have that old boiler.
But they still have that really old, big, oversized boiler. So now I'm going to ask you to be one more step. Hey, let's redo that load calc. Where do we stand now? Do we need that size heating system? Because if we're going to be successful in electrification, we gotta start with being smart. If you have an old leaky building, don't put an oversized electric system on there. That's the wrong way to move forward. The right way is to get it sized right, then move forward.
Got it. That's really good. I mean, reps going above and beyond, getting familiar with the creative ways that they can solve problems, and then being confident and bold as they're presenting problems to customers. I mean, customers, like, people want to be sold. I'm convinced of that. Is when you have a problem, you're looking for a solution. On the other side of that, there's an expert that's giving you options. That actually feels good as a customer, right? To say, hey, I didn't really think about that. And then we go back to what we said earlier. That's trust building, which then creates a relationship and says, hey, that Isaac guy over at DMG, he went above and beyond, understood my needs, and maybe even understood more than I needed. And I trust that guy to solve problems for me moving forward.
You've won. If you end right there, you've won.
That's good. So let's play devil's advocate a little bit. So flexibility, and we hear this a lot, especially with newer reps.
Yeah.
Because it takes a minute to understand that speccing AAON, you've got to learn how to do it, right? And applying AAON isn't always easy. So playing devil's advocate, what do new reps especially, need to learn about speccing AAON? And then one step further, what kind of resources does AAON provide to make applying easier, for the rep?
Yeah, it's a premium offering. It is a premium offering. And I think that's exciting. Because you get to go in there and know you're offering quality, and that you're putting your best foot forward, and that's where reps need to be confident. They need to know, hey, this price that I'm putting out there, I believe in that price. That's the right price for this equipment, and to look for the opportunity where we do win. So if we start by just chasing the other guy, we're probably not competitive. We probably don't lay out the same way. We probably have a different weight, or we probably have a different style of construction, and that just might not be a fit. So if we start by saying, oh, I'm going to chase the other guys that are kind of in that commodity business, that's the wrong thing. You got to go find the buildings where you fit and get locked in there. And one of the questions I would probably ask is, does the person who's buying that piece of equipment pay their utility bill? Because
that's a good point. Because if they don't care.
Because then why do they care about efficiency?
Right.
I mean,
do they feel the pain?
Yeah.
Right. They need to feel the pain.
Like classically, say you go to a homeowner and they're making the decision about a heating. They pay that utility bill each month. They know what that pain is to their checkbook or their wallet. it's a little bit different in a business. It's not quite as visceral, maybe,
Yeah.
but they do benefit from that premium upgrade. They benefit from those lower maintenance costs. They benefit from that longer lifespan. And so you want to go find your opportunities, and that's where you're going to specify AAON. And there's also, there's times, if the economy is tough in your market, maybe they were going the full custom route. And maybe they can't afford the full central plant chiller and built-up air handling system. And maybe a packaged rooftop, a semi-custom product will deliver everything they wanted, and it's just not what they're used to. And so there's maybe some opportunities to think about it like, hey, AAON is at the top of the pack when you think of your rooftop units, but there's that full custom world where maybe if they could get by with one or two different features that we offer and a highly selectable, highly customizable product, maybe we could go steal some business over there.
Yeah. That's good. So AAON offers robust training, right? For new reps, we have training programs. For experienced reps, we have in-depth, highly technical Masters of HVAC training and other things. But as it relates to actually getting a deal done, speccing a deal, and reps, they come across challenges and they have questions about how do I properly, spec this, or how do I apply that? What resources does AAON make available for reps that are actually out in the field trying to get a deal done, working through the complexities of flexibility?
Yeah, that's it depends on what the challenge is, but I think that some of the rep toolkit stuff that's been put out recently, where we can do a good job explaining new industry concepts like ISMRE2, explaining the change to heat pumps and the dynamic different heat pumps that you offer and the new controls that go along with that. I think that some of those training kits are helpful to the sales team. I also think that just your apps team, your regionals. There's a lot of people within the AAON universe. There's fellow reps and fellow salespeople within your own building. We do a lot of kind of bouncing ideas off each other within the office, and you build your network of smart people that are out there doing the same thing. Guys that you can pick up the phone and call when you get there. And AAON has created that over the years. They bring us together every couple years. We know each other, whether we're in different markets. We've heard about jobs where they tackled a problem. We might reach out to them.
So you're sharing resources, even out in the field with other reps, other rep firms.
Not just one DMG rep office to another, but literally from firm to firm. I think AAON has done a great job over the past number of years with your master's program. Those people come out of there. I mean, I have no idea how many total people we've sent through there, but they come out of there with friends who are now at other rep firms. They're friends.
Yes,
they're not. It's their peer group. It's their professional network, and they're maybe 2, 3, 4 years into being a rep. When they go through masters, but I can promise you they're going to stay in touch with those
a lot
people.
of them have group chats.
Yeah.
They keep in contact.
It's amazing. I mean, they bond. They spend a lot of time together in the classroom. They spend time together afterward, and they stay connected. And that's another resource that AAON has built in this rep universe of high performing reps. And we look around at our peers and we say, hey, they're doing something really smart. Let's pick their brain.
I love that. So let's boil this down and bring this to a head. We've talked about a lot. This has been an incredible conversation, but boil it down for the audience, the reps who could be watching this. What we talked about, what makes a great rep, right? We talked about flexibility. We talked about market trends, things like that, and opportunities that you have. So bring it to a head. What do you want to leave our audience with? Whether it's something motivational, trying to encourage them, or some tip or pro tip or whatever. But what can our audience, generally speaking, take away from the time we've spent here?
I think that it's about continuing to build your team and your culture, and to build those successful reps that are, going to go out and be able to build that relationship, being able to be highly technical. And when I go out and help on the recruiting side for our team, or I meet someone coming into look at being a part of DMG, you're looking for that kind of, like I look at a sales engineer, 2 words, right? You got sales. It's all social. What people. It's the used salesman. It's the plaid jacket. It's the thing that people. It's the thing that people don't want to be associated with. And then it's the engineer, a little bit the pocket protector and the calculator and this sort of thing. And we're asking those 2 circles to somehow come together into this Venn diagram of somebody who can, on the one hand, create that relationship with their customer, maintain and have an ongoing relationship with them, and also be a super highly technical resource. And that just doesn't happen every day. And you're looking for somebody who, where those circles intersect a bit.
Yeah.
And if you can find somebody like that and really bring them onto your team, that's somebody who's going to be with your team for a long time. Yeah. If they're too far to one side, it's going to be hard for them to sell. They're putting together the best engineering selection that you've ever seen. They're a master of ECAT, but they can't close. There's no POs coming in, right? And somebody over here that grabs a PO but doesn't really know what they sold, it could really disappoint that customer as that project moves through construction phases, and they really don't know what's on that sheet of paper. And so that's what we're looking for. That's what I hope everybody's looking for as we have this kind of merged sales engineer role be our primary access to customers out there in the market.
I love it.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing conversation. Appreciate you making the time here, Whitney. Thank you. For the viewers, thank you for taking the time to watch this episode. As always, like and subscribe. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.